we gonna do today, Brain? The same thing we'll do in every video, Becky. Try and take over the world. With science! Hello everyone, my name's Rebecca and I'm a neuroscientist here to talk to you today about all things neuro and science. And in this video I'll be kicking off yet another new series, this one celebrating the lives of people, both scientists and categorically not scientists, who have nonetheless changed the face of neuroscience and psychology. So, if you're sitting comfortably, I'll wait. Go get yourself a cup of tea, adjust the pillow, get yourself a blanket, whatever you need. We good? Okay, fantastic. In that case, I will kick off with the first episode of Sciencey Stories, Stories of Science. Given my recent video on computational neuroscience and the age-old question of whether a computer can make a brain, I thought it would be nice to start off with the story of the person widely considered the world's first computer programmer. A tech visionary and computer wizard of Victorian England, one Countess Augusta Ada Kind, perhaps better known as Ada Lovelace. Let's paint the scene. It's the 10th of December 1815 in Canterbury, England. Just a few months ago, the Great Battle of Waterloo was waged and won, putting an end to the Napoleonic Wars. And closer to home, we're seeing the beginnings of the Industrial Revolution, with steam power bringing about a new era of engines and machines. Earlier this year in January, a man known not for his science but for his poetry, alongside being mad, bad and dangerous to know, Lord Byron, married Anna Isabella Milbank, Baroness of Wentworth, at Seaham Hall in Durham. Byron reportedly referred to Anna as his Princess of Parallelograms due to her own affinity for mathematics, and later that year in December she gave birth to a little baby girl, our Augustus Ada Byron. Perhaps unsurprisingly, given his unusual habits of keeping tame bears and jet-setting round Europe and, casually having relationships with other women, the marriage didn't last long. And by the time of Ada's birth, it was already on the rocks. In January 1816, Anna fled back to her country estate and the couple divorced. Ada reportedly saw very little to nothing of her infamous father, though he does seem to have held a genuine care for her, writing to his publisher John Murray at one point saying, "I have great love for little Ada," and later featuring her in his works. He passed away when she was just 8 years old. Despite this, Ada, as she was now known, perhaps because Anna got wind that Byron actually had an ex called Augusta, the tea is piping hot, had a great and varied education, from reading, French and music, as you might imagine, to science and mathematics, pioneered by her own decidedly academically inclined mother, the Princess of Parallelograms herself, who went so far as to prescribe more mathematics to Ada to help her cope with her mental health problems. I'm going to go ahead and let you decide where I fall on whether that's a good idea or not. By 10, Ada was writing to her mother about her struggles to understand mathematics. "When you come back, I think I'll know something of decimal numbers. I don't understand the compound 3 rule, but I haven't given it up yet." By 12, she was studying flyology, trying to replicate the flight of birds using steam-powered engines. And at 17, she joined society, as young women of the time were wont to do, and met another key player in our story, Cambridge mathematician and inventor Charles Babbage. Babbage was already working on a prototype, the theory behind a machine he called the difference engine. And this machine was designed to produce numerical tables. In essence, it was a calculator. The first automated calculator. Calculations done by steam. This really excited people, and Babbage got a lot of funding to pursue his research and actually make the machine itself. Now, there are hundreds of pages of handwritten notes and calculations for this thing, but by June 1833, he'd done it. A 2-foot-high, hand-cranked contraption made of 2,000 brass parts. A contraption he presented to Ada. Ada was hooked. The two set up a working relationship after Ada requested that she become his assistant, and there are loads of letters pinging back and forth between the two of them that you can still go and read today, and they are truly charming. I'm working very hard for you, like the devil in fact, which perhaps I am. I think you will be pleased. I have made what appears to be some very important exclusions and improvements. Ada also signs off a lot of these letters to Charles as your puzzle mate. Adorable. As someone who spends a lot of her time coding, I found a lot of camaraderie in these early letters from Ada, which show even in the earliest days of programming, there was the same fascination and frustration with numbers and logic that I experience today in the 21st century. But we aren't done at the difference engine. Oh no, there are many steps to come. But first, Ada got married to Lord William King in 1835 and had 3 children, Byron, Anne and Ralph. Oh yeah, Ada was proof hundreds of years ago that women can in fact have both successful careers and families. And so alongside family life, the advancements kept advancing, and we took our difference machine from simple addition to being able to carry out theoretically any series of logical steps, the analytical engine. And it's here in 1843 that we see Ada's perhaps most well-known contribution. You see, the only published descriptions of the analytical engine at the time were actually written in French by an Italian chap named Luigi Menabrea, who had heard Babbage give a lecture on the analytical engine and actually put pen to paper, something Babbage, apparently, hadn't got around to doing yet. Ada sets to translating the article. Remember, she speaks French, but she's also encouraged to add her own notes and thoughts on the analytical engine, her own originality. Letters ping back and forth between her and Babbage over the next 9 months as she continues the translation and continues adding her own notes. Notes which end up being 2 to 3 times as long as the original document she was set to translate. Notes which include the first ever computer algorithm and the creativity to use this machine for things far beyond numbers, for letters, for pictures, for music. Suppose, for instance, that the fundamental relations of pitched sounds in the science of harmony and of musical composition were susceptible of such expression and adaptations. The engine might compose elaborate and scientific pieces of music of any degree of complexity or extent. Again, a lot of these letters and notes are still available, and a huge shout out here to Stephen Wolfram, who wrote a truly fantastic article drawing on a lot of these primary sources and made them much more accessible. If you want to learn more about Ada Lovelace's life, I really recommend going reading his article, which is linked in the description below. There are so many heartwarming and humanising accounts throughout these letters, including one occasion where her husband William inked over the mathematical equations that she'd only had time to scribble down in pencil. At one point she refers to herself as the high priestess of the Babbage machine. I wish I had that level of confidence. But it's also clear that she struggled throughout the process. The thing that struck me reading Ada's letters is just how relatable she is as a scientist. The excitement, the frustration, the sheer effort, the support network of people around her pitching in to help. These are all things that I can still relate to as a 21st century computational neuroscientist, while using the same code, the same framework that she helped develop hundreds of years ago. It's comforting to be reminded that computational work has been this exact brand of maddening and wondrous, quite literally, since its inception. And all of this in a time when women couldn't even go to university. It's crazy to think that as a woman 150 years ago, I couldn't have even earned a degree, let alone do the job that I do now. And Ada was doing all of this hundreds of years ago. She was of course lucky that she was born wealthy and also to a mother who valued her education. This meant that she had some fantastic tutors throughout her lifetime, not just in Babbage, but also heavy hitters like Augustus de Morgan and Mary Somerville, another wonderful female scientist who really does deserve an entirely another video. Ada and Babbage's relationship also smacks to me of science. Academia, as someone still not quite used to it, is this really strange mix of incredible respect for other scientists while also constantly trying to prove them and ourselves wrong. In no other field does it seem quite as acceptable to say, I completely disagree with you in everything you stand for. Would you like to talk about it over a drink? Despite their back and forth, which sometimes got quite contentious, Babbage in the end still referred to Ada as his Enchantress of Number, the title now of a book about her life. For me, the real takeaway is that though the times and technology change, the science and scientists, maybe not so much. It's humbling and inspiring to look back at the people behind these discoveries and remember that they really were just people, like you and me, with all the flaws and whimsy that entails. It makes it seem a little less far-fetched to me that we are all capable of doing great things. Maybe I will be a world-leading scientist. I mean, Ada probably didn't think she was going to be, and we're still telling her story. And if Ada hadn't come across the first computer program, if she hadn't written it, then someone else would have done. A different timeline. Another story. Ada sadly passed away at the age of 36 from uterine cancer in 1852, and Charles Babbage later in 1871. But through their collaborations, both with each other and the wider scientific community, they really did revolutionize the field of computing. Now we still have a programming language called Ada, but imagine what the world would look like if we had those engines she dreamt of. Machines that could interact with music and letters and Wait a second. That's all the time we have for today, but if you have any questions about the content discussed in this video or suggestions for future videos, please do leave a comment down below. In the meantime, I should head back to the lab and plan what I'm going to do for the next video. But until then, please do let me know of any progress you make in trying to take over the world with science!